You're listening to the Cool Audio Podcast, your escape into the world of stories, sounds, and imagination. Whether you're driving, chilling at home, or just need a moment to unplug, we've got a story just for you. So sit back, relax, and let the journey begin. The senior Mrs. Dawson tried to recall the details of last night. Last night I saw your daddy seeing someone off. Your mommy probably left at that moment. Did something happen in Grandma's home? Pudding guessed. Don't guess about it, kids. I trust your daddy. Since he could let your mommy go, she'll be fine, their grandfather said. And Pudding thought he was right. Their daddy always knew what he was doing, and he loved their mommy more than anyone else. He'd never bear to let her take risks, right? At 9 a.m., Jack called everyone to his office to tell them the truth. After all, Chloe had set off as Zoe instructed, so it didn't matter that people knew about it. Jack told them the main points. One was that Justin was kidnapped by Zoe but was still alive. The other was that Zoe demanded Chloe to do the rescue alone, and Chloe had set off. Everyone was stunned by his words. Noah, I wondered why you had me investigate Zoe. So she is the mastermind? Jack, she isn't. The mastermind is someone more powerful. Max, damn it. Is the woman crazy? She's still alive. I thought she died in prison long ago. Justin is finished if she kidnapped him. Her sister died in Mr. Cooper's house and she was imprisoned for a long time. She must hate his guts. Brenton, do you know where they are? Jack, not yet. I planted several trackers on Chloe and I'll know the location when she gets there. Victoria, Chloe is silly. Why didn't you guys tell us? We can work together. How could she go alone? Jack, Zoe has high-level hackers working for her, and they even monitored my phone conversations with Chloe. They must have spies here, so Chloe didn't dare to tell you guys, fearing it would put Justin in danger. I tried to investigate Zoe in the States. She got angry and sent Chloe a video clip in which Justin was shot twice. It was her warning. Max, what? He was shot? He was terrified. So were the others. Jack, they shot his collarbones and he's still alive. Zoe did it as a warning to Chloe. Brenton, that woman is crazy, but it's even more dangerous for them. Of course, Brenton referred to Chu and Justin. The strange thing was that while the others were expressing their opinions, Sarah, Chloe's bestie, had been silent with her head lowered. Sarah, what's wrong? Noah noticed her strange silence and patted her on the shoulder. She exploded instantly. Jack, how could you let Chloe go by herself? She'll be in labor soon. How could you let her go? Sarah cried her heart out and berated Jack in a loud voice, stunning the others. Jack lowered his head slowly. After a long while, he said, We're deeply indebted to the Cooper family. Chloe is always grateful to them and has said countless times that she'd do anything to help Justin when he's in trouble. Now that Justin was kidnapped, if she holed up for the sake of the baby in her belly and Justin died, she'd feel worse than death. She'd be burdened with guilt for the rest of her life. Even I wouldn't want her to live like that, not to mention Chloe. Hearing his words, the others fell silent. Chloe's promises were never empty. After getting so many favors from the Cooper family, she'd never back off when Justin needed her help. But have you considered the possibility that she and the baby would both die if she couldn't make it back? Sarah demanded with a choking voice. Sarah, stop it! Noah couldn't let her continue, knowing these words would only make Jack feel worse. In the whole world, Jack cared for Chloe more than anyone else. Sarah, the priority right now is to think of a way to get them out. Victoria soothed Sarah. Jack, didn't you plant trackers on her? Find the location and I'll send people there. Noah had the power to maneuver the police force. I don't want the police to get involved this time, Jack said in a low voice. The police will draw unnecessary attention. We might alert them, Brenton said. I can send plainclothes police officers. So long as we find their location, I can get the local police to help us. Kidnapping is a capital felony. With Justin's special background, we can even maneuver the army, Noah added. The army will catch more attention. My brother just said even Rick thinks these people are powerful. We can't treat them as ordinary kidnappers. More people might not achieve better results. It might get the opposite effects. Avery had listened to her brother carefully and thus explained the situation to the others. Jack, can you locate her? I want to know where Chloe is. Victoria was the smartest woman in this room. I'll try. Jack turned on his computer and typed in a series of characters. He saw a red dot moving toward the south swiftly. Chloe is moving fast, which means she's still in a plane. We don't know the final destination. Jack looked at the map in his laptop with a heavy heart. Jack, I suggest you go and see Grandpa Cooper. The Army might be able to find their precise location with radar. Yeah, I've told Grandpa Cooper that I'll go see him in his house in 2 hours. Jack had thought of Victoria's idea. The others were cautious with their suggestions, not wanting to cause more trouble. During the meeting, Jack talked to Rick on the phone again. Anne sat among them and listened to them but didn't say anything since he knew he was powerless. But when he heard Jack's conversation with Rick, he got excited because they mentioned Fiona. Hanging up, Jack looked a little bit less tense. I've got good news. Fiona will come in the early morning. Other than those who didn't know Fiona's true identity, the people in the room were all stunned and almost wept in joy. Great! When Fiona comes, she'll get President Cooper and Chloe out. He worshipped Fiona like a maniac fan. When Fiona comes, the problem is solved. Noah didn't know how capable Fiona was, but from Jack's tone, he knew Chloe's sister was extraordinary. They left after the meeting ended and Jack drove to visit the Cooper family alone. He told Justin's grandpa and parents everything that had happened, except for the part about Chloe's father and sister. Meanwhile, Chloe was in a private plane with good furnishings. The temperature in the plane was very warm. Other than the pilot and air attendants, there were 8 masked men wearing black clothes, from their physiques and skin colors. Chloe realized Zoe was quite capable. Before the latter entered the prison, she hadn't been smart enough to come up with such an elaborate plan. Do you want to eat something? A masked man walked over and asked in perfect English. Bread and water, please. Thank you. Chloe answered in fluent English. A little while later, he brought her bread and water. Chloe took out her own fork and knife, which she had soaked in a special solution. They could detect any poison in food. Chloe cut the bread with her knife to see if it was drugged. She must be very careful with each step she took since she was pregnant. She stirred the water in the glass with her spoon. Those people thought she was trying to cool it, but Chloe did it to see if the water was safe to drink. In the monitor screen of high resolution, Chloe's face was revealed clearly. The woman sitting in the chair had a smile in her eyes. Look how smart she is. She brings her own knife and fork to test the food, just like her father would have done. Master, I think Miss Chloe's intelligence takes after you. The elderly maid, wearing a white floral long robe and a scarf over her head, looked like a witch. The woman sitting in the chair made of gold had a white crystal mask on her face. Even though her face was hidden, she was so stunningly beautiful that people would get drunk with her charm. Do you think she's better than Layla? The woman wearing a crystal mask said sweetly. I can't say. The maid kept her head lowered. Then let's pit the kids against each other. Young people are always proud and competitive. The woman smiled, looking very beautiful. Master, do you plan to go and see the professor? I will see him when the time comes. The woman watched as Chloe slowly ate the bread and drank the water on the screen. As an ordinary person, Chloe was quite good, but it was hard to say who was better between her and Layla. In the jungle. The woman wearing the golden mask had always kept her mask on. She was now having sex with Hunter in an RV. They made such loud noises that all the people outside turned red in the face. Zoe looked displeased. She didn't like the woman since the latter treated them as if they were her tools instead of real people. At supper time, Mr. Y ushered the masked woman and Hunter into the main building. The table was full of different dishes. Young master, I heard you like eating cobras. There are many cobras here. Please try it and see if you like it. Mr. Y tried to cozy up to her. The masked woman leaned on Hunter's shoulder and smiled. I love eating king cobras, not cobras. I'll send people to find them for you, but we're not in India, and I'm afraid that kind of cobra is difficult to find here, Mr. Y added. If you can't find it, you can die. The woman's smile turned chilly, and Mr. Y was terrified instantly. At this moment, a minion serving the dishes spilled a little sauce on the hem of the masked woman's skirt. Terrified, he dropped to his knees and begged for forgiveness. Young madam, I was wrong, I'm sorry. Stand up. The woman waved her hand and her voice was extremely gentle. but Hunter detected a tinge of blood in her voice, knowing the demon would reveal her true form. Sure enough, the minion screamed before he could stand up. Zoe felt her heart almost pop out when she saw it. Even Hunter and Mr. Yu almost threw up. The masked woman twisted the guy's head off his body as blood sprayed all over the ground. Then she weighed the head in her hand. Such a moron. By the way, do you guys like to eat it steamed or stewed? She asked the others with a smile. No one dared to answer. The masked woman tossed the head into Zoe's lap, and the great force almost knocked her down. Take it. Eating human heads helps you remain young and beautiful, the woman chuckled. Terrified, Zoe threw the head to the ground and screamed with hands over her mouth. She was scared out of wits. She had never seen such a scene before. Mr. Y was a psycho, but he only did drugs and played with women. But the masked woman was diabolic. Her behavior went beyond people's imagination. Ignoring Zoe's screams, the masked woman sat down. Let's eat. Then she picked up chopsticks and began to eat with gusto. Sitting next to her, Hunter didn't dare to say a word and followed suit. Mr. Y was so terrified that he dared not utter a sound. He had only talked to the young madam on the phone or through video chat and didn't know she was so violent and bloodthirsty. He felt he was walking on thin ice. Is Chloe coming today? The masked woman asked as she ate. Yes, young madam. If everything goes well, she'll be here in 3 hours. Okay, good. The woman nodded. She had tried to catch Chloe several times, but her attempts had all failed. This time her plan worked, and Chloe couldn't get out of her hand. Everyone said Chloe was a genius, and she wanted to see how smart Chloe was. Will Huo Mian be smarter than her? At the door of Justin's house, and was surprised when he opened the door and saw Melody standing there. Miss Melody, what are you doing here? Anne, is President Cooper back? And immediately answered, Not yet. He's still busy out of the city. Why didn't he return my messages? It's not like him. Oh, it's urgent business and he can't use his cell phone. I see. On my way here, I saw a supermarket was doing promotion, and I bought some vegetables, fruits, and meat for you guys. Melody handed the bags to Anne. We don't cook. We usually eat in the company cafeteria or restaurants. That's not healthy. Aren't you afraid of the dirty oil the restaurants use? Take it. If you don't know how to cook, just call me. With a shy smile, she turned and ran away, and sighed slightly, knowing she was another woman who fell in love with President Cooper. He remembered Elsie, who had forced her way into the house and bought groceries for them. She even cooked and washed dishes for them, but still. Anne was more and more convinced that President Cooper would never love another woman. He thought Melody was a good girl, clean, straightforward, and likable, but it was President Cooper's opinion that mattered. The most important thing for now was getting Justin back safe. After his secret visit to the Cooper family, Jack returned to the company. No one knew what plan he had made with Grandpa Cooper, and they didn't ask him because they trusted him. Fiona came in the middle of the night. Anne had offered to pick her up in the airport, but was disappointed when he knew Fiona came in her private plane. Jack knew Anne wanted to see Fiona, so he invited Anne to come to a suburban SPA hotel owned by GK in the midnight. On his way to the hotel, Anne bought a roasted sweet potato and kept it warm in the pocket closest to his body. At 12:45 a.m., Fiona came to the appointed location in a helicopter after she got off her private plane. Her black windbreaker shimmered in the dark night when she leapt out of the helicopter effortlessly. Seeing her figure, Anne felt exhilarated. Jack and Anne walked over immediately. "Brother-in-law?" Fiona greeted. She glanced at Anne and nodded at him but didn't speak. "It's cold outside. Let's go in first." Jack ushered Fiona into the SPA hotel. Only 2 men came with Fiona, and they were obviously good fighters. They walked into the small meeting room in the hotel and sat down. Before they spoke, Fiona took out a small device and turned it on, saying, "Now we can talk," and guessed the device could detect bugs. "Your sister has been taken to the center of a jungle in Yunnan province. There's no name or routes in the map since this place hasn't been developed and isn't open to the public. That makes things difficult. That's those bastards' style," Fiona said coldly. "This is information about Mr. Y that Rick sent to me from the States." Jack handed it to Fiona, but she shook her head. "Brother-in-law, I have all the intelligence that Rick can find and the information he can't find. so I know better than him what these people are. You know them. Jack wasn't surprised since he knew Fiona had an excellent web of spies. Fiona nodded. After the deal with Rick, I planned to go to the Golden Triangle. The BS Nan is getting restless lately and schemes to do something big. But I heard about the thing about my sister and raced back. The people behind Mr. Y are indeed not ordinary outlaws. I finally understood why Legend and Nalo have been so quiet and didn't try to kidnap my sister. I thought they had given up and no longer want the thing in my dad's hands. But it turned out I was wrong. Jack understood her meaning and said, "They dare not move because they know these people have the same purpose." Yeah, the BS Legend looks fierce but is in fact cowardly. The only reason that he chickened out is that we're targeted by more powerful enemies than him. Doomsday Death God, Jack said 3 words, and was stupefied by their conversation. Doomsday Death God? Does it really exist? I always thought it was made up. I heard they are extremely cruel and even terrorists don't dare cross paths with them. Everywhere they go is turned into hell. Anne had heard of the name when someone bragged about his knowledge, but he had always thought it was a legend and didn't exist. But hearing Jack's conversation with Fiona, Anne realized he had been wrong. Fiona, how much do you know about this organization? Jack put his hopes on Fiona. Fiona's face turned grimmer. 5 seconds later, she answered slowly, "Brother-in-law, I know. Nothing about it." Jack's heart sank. If Fiona didn't know about this organization, then no one did. "Queen Fiona, you've never encountered them in a fight?" Anne asked. "Never. In the past years, all the organizations working against them were slaughtered without leaving anyone alive to tell what happened. Like you guys, I only heard rumors about them." "This is bad." Anne began to worry that President Cooper wouldn't come back alive if Zoe was from Doomsday Death God. "Brother-in-law, do you know anything about them?" Fiona asked Jack. Jack took out a lighter from his pocket slowly. Seeing the pattern on the surface of the lighter, both Anne and Fiona were stunned. "You have something from them?" Fiona stared at the lighter in astonishment. The Doomsday Death God organization was mysterious and never acted as high-profiled as the terrorists such as Legend. They didn't do missions as frequently as Fiona, but everyone didn't dare to mess with them. "Yeah." Jack nodded but didn't speak. Understanding his meaning, Anne stood up. "I'll go and get water for you guys." He knew Jack and Fiona might not trust him, and didn't want to say certain things in front of him, so he found an excuse and walked out. Jack told Fiona about the lighter slowly. He hadn't thought much of it, but looking back, he began to realize those people had been targeting them since then. With the lighter in his hand, Jack said, "I heard about the rumors of the Doomsday Death God when I was in the States, and Rick's family knows a little about it. Later, when Legend came to our city to see Chloe, I even used this lighter to test the water. From his terrified face, I began to realize that the lighter is authentic, and indeed came from the Doomsday Death God." "Brother-in-law, where did you get the lighter?" Fiona's face had never been so grim before. Yeah, even someone like her didn't want to have anything to do with that organization, because it was a group of the most perverse and despicable people on Earth. Their cruelty went beyond humans' endurance. Jack told her the thing that had happened 4 years ago. At that time, he was in the States in low spirits after Andrew framed him. No one knew if he was alive or dead. He didn't return to the country because of the wound on his leg. Most of the time, he stayed in his room alone and stared into distance, missing Chloe and their children. To distract him, Avery asked her brother to attend a party with her. At first, Jack refused to go, but later he happened to learn the special background of the party. The party was organized by Avery's bestie, a rich girl from a top family in the States. The people she invited to her party were all significant figures. Seeing Laffey's, a big drug dealer in South America, was on the list of the party guests, Jack decided to attend the party to protect Avery. During the party, Jack saw a masked young woman in the back garden of the hostess's house. She seemed drunken or drugged. Anyway, she stumbled around with a panicked expression, being surrounded by a group of thugs. With a glass of wine in his hand, Jack saw the guys begin to tear off the woman's clothes. Jack never minded others' business, and he should pretend to see nothing and leave them. But the woman turned her eyes to him, asking for help silently. Even though she wore a mask and stood some distance from him, he still felt the woman's eyes look very much like Chloe's. For a moment, she looked just like Chloe. Jack jumped down and knocked down all the thugs. The woman stood up on shaky legs and seemed to want to hug Jack. He backed away from her since he'd never have any physical contact with any woman other than Chloe. It was a long-time habit of his. The woman smiled and said, "Can I borrow you lighter?" Surprised, Jack took his lighter from his pocket and handed it to her. Then he never met her again. It was not a big deal for him, but when he got home, he found his lighter was missing. It was a big brand lighter that Chloe gave to him as a birthday present when they were in high school. She had bought it with the money she earned by distributing flyers on weekends. The picture on the surface of the lighter was an adorable penguin, Chloe's favorite animal. Jack had used it for years and never wanted to part with it, even though he had changed the flint several times. As he got frustrated from losing the lighter, he found a strange lighter with the picture of a skull in his pocket. At first, he didn't know what the symbol meant until Rick saw it and said it looked familiar. They researched it and found it was the symbol of Doomsday Death God. Rich had joked that maybe the woman Jack helped that night was a maniac fan of the Doomsday Death God. Obsessed with the organization, she had coined it. But Jack felt it wasn't that simple since he didn't know when his lighter got switched. The lighter had been in his pocket, and someone needed to be extremely fast to switch it without his notice. So he had kept the lighter for years. When Legend came, he had shown him the lighter and was convinced of its authenticity through Legend's expression. Jack had never told anyone about it until now, when he found this mysterious organization was their enemy. He had meant to keep silent about it, since he was sad about losing the lighter that Chloe gave him. Hearing the whole story, Fiona went silent. After a long while, she raised her head and looked at Jack, saying slowly, "Brother-in-law, I feel that woman approached you on purpose, which is why she left the lighter to you." "Yeah, I think so too." "Do you remember any details?" "No, I only remember her eyes looked like Chloe's." Jack recalled the night several years ago, but found the details had turned fuzzy. But he was sure that if not for her eyes, which looked like Chloe's, he'd never have helped her. "It seems it's part of a setup." The situation was so tricky that Fiona felt her head ache. Their enemy was Doomsday Death God, and she didn't know what their enemy would do next. They were totally in the dark. How could they proceed with the battle? "Do they want the thing from the professor?" Jack asked. "It's possible, but we know nothing for certain. Brother-in-law, give me the location of my sister and I'll get her out." Fiona was worried about Chloe, who was about to be in labor, so she was impatient to go. "Fiona, if it's a setup, you'll only walk into their trap. Maybe their real purpose is you and Chloe." "I don't care. No matter what, I can't let my sister stay in that place." "Here's the plan. We'll set out in 2 teams. I've devised a map. We'll enter the jungle from 2 directions to split their attention." "Okay, I'll go get my plane ready." With a grim expression, Fiona walked out. Seeing her walk out, Anne went over bashfully. "Queen Fiona, here's your roast sweet potato." Carefully, Anne took out from his pocket the roast sweet potato, which was still warm. Preoccupied with thoughts about her sister Chloe, Fiona wasn't in the mood to take food from Anne. As she turned the wheel on her watch, she gestured to him with her forefinger that she didn't want to eat. Then she walked out, leaving Anne standing where he was. He put the roast sweet potato back into his pocket carefully, keeping it warm for Fiona in case she'd get hungry later. Anne's gesture was endearing, but it did nothing to ease Fiona's mind right now. All kinds of thoughts and feelings swirled in Jack's mind. He had been like this ever since Chloe left. At Sky Blessing Court, Thomas was a deep sleeper and could sleep through a thunderstorm. But Stella was a light sleeper. Besides, she was more alert after Chloe and Jack told her to be watchful. At midnight, she was woken up by a strange sound. Turning on the flashlight on her cell phone, she walked downstairs in her pajamas. Sandra and James's room was on the 1st floor. The moment Stella got to the 1st floor, she bumped into Sandra, who was walking out of her room. "Mom, how come you're out too?" "Did you hear that strange sound too?" Sandra looked at Stella in terror. Stella nodded and was a bit fearful. "Mom, what was it?" "I don't know. It seemed to have come from the kitchen." Mustering their courage, They walked toward the kitchen cautiously. Before they reached it, a cold voice came from behind them. "What are you doing?" They looked back together and saw James walk out from the bedroom. His expression was gloomy with sullen eyes. "James, didn't you hear that strange sound?" "Do you mean the birds I bought during the day?" "Birds?" Sandra was surprised. "Yeah, I bought several birds from the market and planned to give them to Pudding and Little Bean." James's face and voice were still cold. One couldn't see any kindness from his face. "I see. Then it must have been the sound from the birds. I thought a thief broke in." Believing James's words, Sandra walked back. Resigned, Stella had to turn back and go upstairs. "Stella, go back to bed. You and Thomas need to go to work tomorrow," Sandra instructed her daughter-in-law. "Okay, you go back to bed too, Mom." As Stella walked upstairs, she glanced back at the kitchen with a weird feeling in her heart. She didn't think it was a sound from a bird. It sounded shrill. Now that her mother-in-law had believed that guy's words, she could do nothing about it. It seemed Sister Chloe and President Dawson were right. This guy wasn't what he was pretending to be, and she must watch him closely. Sandra and James returned to their bedroom and fell asleep again. At 2 o'clock in the morning, James walked into the kitchen stealthily, and no one knew what he did in there. But when he came out, he had blood on his lips and a creepy smile in his eyes. Meanwhile, Chloe landed from a helicopter and then traveled on a mountainous path for a long time in an ORV. During the bumpy ride, she protected her belly carefully, fearing to hurt her baby. Finally, the ORV drove slowly to a group of bamboo cottages and stopped in an open space. Zoe had been waiting for her. Today, she had purposefully put on a red long dress, looking seductive with heavy makeup. When the car door opened and Chloe got out of the car slowly, Zoe chuckled smugly. "Whoa, look who's here. Tisk, tisk. Aren't you our genius, doctor?" Chloe got out of the car with her small bag. With her plump body and lack of makeup, she wasn't as beautiful as Zoe, but her deportment was no less stunning. She glanced around her surroundings and looked at Zoe, saying contemptuously, "Big star Zoe, long time no see." "Yeah, Chloe, we haven't seen each other for a long time." Zoe blamed Justin and Chloe for all her misery, so she was tempted to deal with Chloe the moment she saw her. She looked as if she could get Chloe killed now that the latter was on her territory. "Where's Justin?" Not wanting to waste her breath on the stupid woman, Chloe asked about Justin. "Heh, you are concerned about him. Do you want to see him?" Chloe didn't speak because she knew from Zoe's smugness that the latter wouldn't let her see Justin so easily. Sure enough, Zoe waved a plantain fan. "You can see Justin, but my great doctor, director, and ultimate genius, you must crawl through my legs first. Then I'll consider if you can see your lover." Chloe chuckled. "What are you laughing about?" Chloe's chuckle unsettled Zoe. She knew Chloe was full of smart ideas and was afraid she had said something wrong. "I laughed because I think you watch too many soap operas. You want me to crawl between your legs? Do you think you can take that?" "Chloe, you still don't understand your situation. Now you're on my territory. You can't resist me even if I want to slice your flesh off piece by piece. Do you know you've handed yourself to me?" Zoe raised her voice to frighten Chloe. "Don't pretend you're the mistress of this place. You're only a minion. Your boss is still hiding in the darkness, right?" "What? He still doesn't want to show his face to me?" Zoe's expression changed drastically. Chloe was very observant and saw through Zoe's bluffing, making the latter very embarrassed. Zoe had planned to pretend to be the mistress of the place, but now her trick had failed. What could she do now? While they faced each other in a standoff, in the westmost bamboo cottage, the woman wearing a golden mask lounged on the sofa in a bathrobe as she watched the scene on the monitor screen. Hunter stood behind her with a glass of wine in his hand. "The genius is exaggerated. I don't think there's anything extraordinary in her," said the masked woman. "Chloe is indeed an ordinary woman. The rumors about her genius are just hype. Only those idiots Jack and Justin would think of this woman as a rare treasure in the world. In my eyes, she's just a batch." Hunter smiled sinisterly. "Whoa, you sound as if you have no designs on her. Didn't you try to sleep with her?" "I didn't do it only to ruin the love between her and Jack. Besides, I wanted to ruin the image of Andrew's goddess." "But you failed in the end, right?" The woman smiled. Young madam, are you mocking me? Hunter bent down and licked the woman's neck lightly. The masked woman laughed wildly and turned to hold Hunter's neck. Mock you? No, I can't bear to do that. After all, you gave me lots of pleasure. Layla didn't want to meet Chloe now. Instead, she allowed Zoe to taunt Chloe. However, Chloe knew Zoe was simple-minded and didn't let the latter gain the upper hand. Zoe was angry from humiliation. Do you really think I don't dare to hit you? Chloe, you overestimate yourself. Zoe strode over to slap Chloe's face. Stop! Hearing the voice, Zoe paused. She turned her head and saw Mr. Y walk toward them. My dear, can't I give a lesson to my enemy? Zoe cooed, even though they were not alone. Your revenge can wait since she can't get away anyway. Young master said to let her see Justin. After all, Justin is dying. Hearing his words, Chloe's face paled. What did you do to him? She frowned. He's dying. Didn't you hear that? Bach, it's all your fault. Justin was shot because you broke your word and investigated us. Didn't you see it? Do you think we faked it? Heh. The 2 bullets are still in him and his wounds are festering. Where's he? Chloe's voice shook in fury. She was impatient to see Justin. If Justin died, she swore she'd blow this place up even at the price of the lives of herself and her baby. Guards, take her to the small wooden shed. At Mr. Y's order, some guys led Chloe toward Justin's room. Zoe complained, I finally had the chance to teach that batch Chloe a good lesson, but you stopped me. I've prepared for that moment for a long time. I don't know if I'll have another opportunity to deal with her. I'm truly unhappy. The woman didn't know her nagging was annoying. You shut up for me. Mr. Y was becoming more and more impatient with Zoe. Previously, he had treated her better, and they used to do drugs together and indulge in physical pleasures. But ever since they returned to the country and executed the plan, he had gotten more and more cranky. He would beat her for the slightest provocation, and now she couldn't even touch Chloe. Zoe felt frustrated. My dear, you don't love me anymore? Seeing Mr. Y get angry, Zoe immediately begged him for forgiveness. Stupid batch, you should know this is not the right time or place for your revenge. The young madam is here, and we could die at any moment. Have you forgotten how that guy died last night? Zoe still felt fearful as she remembered that guy's death last night. The young madam didn't tell you to abuse Chloe. If you anger her and get your head twisted off, it's not my fault, Mr. Y said angrily, and turned to go. Reluctantly, Zoe followed him without a word, knowing he was right. In the wooden shed in the corner, Justin's gun wounds had festered, and he was burning with a high fever. No one cared if he died or not. Zoe didn't care, not to mention the masked woman. Entering the room, Chloe strode to his side and dropped to the ground as tears slid down her face. Justin, I'm here. Justin, don't be afraid. Chloe had known she might not be able to control her emotions when she saw Justin. She'd be calmer if Justin was intact, but he lay there dying. He was a strong man, but he looked so helpless now. He was wearing the clothes he had on when he was kidnapped. His favorite white long-sleeved Versace shirt now looked dirty with blood and mud. His face and hair were filthy with dried blood and dirt. His eyes were closed, and his lips were pale with shallow breathing. Crying, Chloe touched his forehead and found he had a burning fever, maybe for a long time now. Justin, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I should have come earlier. I'm so sorry. Gripping the clothes on her chest, Chloe cried so hard that she almost couldn't breathe. If Justin died, how could she return and face his grandpa and parents? How could she face their good friends, including Max, Brenton, and Victoria? How could she face Melody, who liked Justin? How could she face Pudding and Little Bean, who loved him so much? Chloe lost all her composure and calm and was almost out of breath from crying. Finally, Justin's senses returned a bit. Chloe, is that you, Chloe? His voice was weak, as if he was in a dream. Justin, it's me. I'm Chloe. She reached out in joy and gripped his hand, which was extremely cold. Feeling Chloe's warm hand, Justin finally mustered some strength in him, but he still couldn't open his eyes. Chloe, get out of here now. It's dangerous here. Go. No, I won't leave you here. She knew Justin was talking in the dream, but she still answered him seriously. Calming herself down, she opened her small bag, which contained a mini medical box, the magical kit for all doctors. She took out a disposable needle and injected antibiotics into him. Then she used a sterilized wet towel to clean his hair and face. About 20 minutes later, he cooled down gradually. Chloe cleaned his face and finally saw the familiar look of the fearless prince of the Cooper family. Then she took off his shirt carefully. The wounds around his collarbones were a horrible sight. They had festered with blackened blood crust, giving off a foul smell. Chloe thought Justin might not have survived the night if she came one day later. At this thought, she almost cried again. Suppressing her tears, she injected anesthetic into him and took out a small scalpel and tweezers to get the bullets out. The light in the shed was dim, and Chloe had to look hard, focusing all her attention on the working of her hands. Someone was watching the scene with interest. The child was born to be a doctor. She even came with a medical kit containing everything, including anesthetic and scalpels. It seems the fellow will live. The woman sitting in the golden chair smiled as she played with the pair of crystal balls in her hands. "Madam, Miss Chloe is a kind-hearted child," the maid said mildly. "Kind-hearted? Messiah, tell me how much kindness is worth nowadays." The woman smiled charmingly. Chloe felt fortunate that she had watched the video clip Zoe had sent to her as a threat. Otherwise, she wouldn't have come so fully prepared. She had brought scalpels and anesthetics in the medical kit. Chloe performed the gentlest and most meticulous surgery in her life, while Justin lay there without feeling any pain. After the surgery was over, she moistened a white towel she had brought and placed it on his forehead. Exhausted, she leaned on the wall and panted heavily. The baby became fussy and began to roll in her womb. With a smile, she touched her belly. "Baby, don't be afraid. I'm fine. Mommy just did a surgery on your Uncle Cooper. Let's work together to wake up your Uncle Cooper, okay?" The baby seemed to understand her and calmed down a little while later. With sweat on her forehead, she leaned on the wall and closed her eyes, not daring to think what would happen. She was confident in her medical skills and thought Justin would wake up tomorrow morning. After tonight, her husband should bring people to rescue them. After all, she had many trackers on her, and one of them had been planted under her skin and couldn't be seen with naked eyes. Otherwise, Mr. Dawson wouldn't have dared to let her come. From the looks of it, the people behind the scenes didn't want to kill her for the time being. It was hard to say what their real purpose was. It was dinner time, and to satisfy Layla's special taste in food, her minions prepared something to her liking, but was impossible to swallow for ordinary people. Since Hunter had served the demon woman well in the past couple of days, he was allowed to eat in the room. He only ordered a beef hamburger and a glass of Coke. The meal was simple but very delicious. As he ate, he watched Chloe on the monitor screen with a mysterious look in his eyes. In a while, Layla opened the door and entered. Hunter stood up immediately and got a bit tense. "Young madam." Layla glanced at the screen and smiled. "What? Are you hurting inside for your sister Chloe?" "Haha, she's Andrew's sister Chloe, not mine." "Has she finished the surgery on Justin?" Layla asked airily. "Yeah, her medical skills are indeed good, but you don't plan to let Justin die?" "When did I say I'd let him die? Justin can't die. No one can die. It's more fun to have them alive." Layla's words were mysterious, and Hunter didn't dare to guess. He looked as if he didn't have any secrets in front of the woman. "Then we don't need to do anything now? You know their rescue team will come soon." "Rescue team? So what? Let's see if they can enter this place first." Layla poured herself a glass of red wine and sipped it leisurely. "Hunter, you hate Chloe, right?" "Yeah." "Then you'll enjoy seeing her in pain, right?" Hunter froze for a second and then laughed. "Of course, I'll enjoy it very much. I'd never miss something so interesting." "Good, just wait. A great drama will begin soon. I think you'll be thrilled." She pulled up her sheer skirt and threw a leg over Hunter's thighs to sit on his lap. It was a very seductive sight. Meanwhile, at the shed, Justin woke up sooner than Chloe had expected. "Water." His dry lips moved slightly. Note, "Justin, you woke up?" Thrilled, Chloe crawled to his side to help him up. "Want water?" Justin was still groggy. Chloe stood up immediately and poured some water into a disposable cup she had brought. She had inspected the water in the room and found it was clean. She placed the cup close to his lips. After drinking 3 cups of water, Justin finally opened his eyes, looking dazed. Am I dead? Justin looked at the ceiling with empty eyes. Not yet. Hearing her voice, Justin turned his head immediately. Seeing her, he was stunned. Chloe? It's me. Am I still dreaming? I dreamed of you, taking care of me tenderly just like now. Justin had confused Layla's visit with Chloe's. Before Chloe could speak, he continued, I dreamed that your baby was gone. How is he? Is the baby okay? The baby is fine. Don't worry. Chloe smiled in satisfaction. Justin reached up and touched her shoulder-length hair. The feel was real to him. I wish this was just a dream. Why? I don't deserve you taking risks for me. Justin understood their situation. Nonsense. If you don't deserve it, who would? Justin, don't worry. I'm here and you'll be fine. Look, I treated the wounds in your shoulders. You didn't feel any pain, right? The anesthetic I prepared is very good. It didn't affect your nervous system while it helped to numb your pain. Chloe comforted him gently. Justin began to feel the slight tearing pain in his collarbones. He looked down and saw his wounds had been bandaged with white gauze by Chloe. Our Dr. Green has awesome medical skills. Justin revealed his first real smile after he came here. Of course. Besides, you don't have to pay the medical fees. My price for taking out one bullet is $1 million now. Seeing Chloe could still joke at this moment, Justin felt better. It's so good to see you again. After seeing Chloe, he didn't care about his life anymore. No matter how long he could live, he'd have no regrets. At this moment, his stomach growled. Embarrassed, he turned his head away from Chloe. Are you hungry? I'll ask for food. Don't go. They might hurt you. Justin grabbed her arm in fear. I'll be fine. They don't dare to do anything to me yet. Confidently, Chloe stood up and pushed open the door. The two guards at the door raised their guns and looked at her alertly. What are you doing? Go back. Calm down. I won't go anywhere. With my big belly, where can I go? My friend is sick and needs food. I want food too. Get us congee, boiled water, and a boiled egg too. The guards exchanged a look and didn't speak. Your master didn't tell you to kill us yet. Then you must feed us. If we die of hunger, your lives will become miserable. Then she slammed the door closed. One of the guards went to deliver her request. In a little while, food came. It was a meal for two. Chloe held the bowl of congee carefully and blew at it. Come, Justin, eat some. I can do it. I have hands. Justin looked shy. He liked joking, but in front of Chloe, he always looked like a youth with his first love. Okay, but I've got to inspect it first. Chloe took out her tool to check the food. Making sure it was clean, she let Justin eat it. Taking a sip of the congee, Justin stole a glance at Chloe. Why are you looking at me? I'm afraid you're a vision I summoned in my mind and you might be gone in the next moment. Don't worry. I won't go unless I die. Chloe said it jokingly, but Justin looked angry. Pooh, don't say unlucky things. Hurry up and eat. At Justin's urging, Chloe began to eat her own congee. She peeled a boiled egg for him. One for each of us, said Chloe. You take them. You have a baby and need more nutrients. Justin didn't mind going hungry, but he couldn't bear to starve the baby in her belly. The baby says his Uncle Cooper will treat us to a big feast. One egg is not enough. Before Justin could speak, she stuffed the peeled egg into his mouth. Resigned, he had to eat it. Chloe, I'm sorry. Why do you say that? I dragged you into this mess. Don't pull this beast with me, okay? We're great friends. Even if you were taken to the end of the world, I'd go and find you. But if we couldn't make it back, You told me not to say unlucky things, but you are doing it now. Pooh, don't say such unlucky things. Ignoring him, she began to gulp down her congee as if it was the most delicious thing in the world. She had always been down to earth and never acted like a goddess. Everyone liked her because she was real. Watching Justin and Chloe joke with each other on the screen, Layla was displeased. Lying on Hunter's lap, she touched the sensitive skin on his thigh. She said feelingly, My dear, how can a woman as batchy as Chloe exist in this world? She claims she loves her husband Jack, but now she came to seduce Justin even with a baby in her belly. If her husband knew about it, he'd be sad, right? Chloe isn't seducing Justin. They seem to be good friends. Hunter didn't agree. Even though he didn't like Chloe, he wouldn't distort the truth about her character. Isn't she seducing him? She took off his shirt, did surgery on him, and even wanted to feed him? I'm disgusted. I always think cheating on someone physically is less horrible than cheating spiritually. Chloe is cheating on her husband spiritually, which is more despicable. I've had sex with many, many men, but I don't love them. But Chloe is a batch who plays with men in the name of true love. Don't you think so? The woman touched Hunter's handsome face with her long fingernails, looking seductive in the dark night. Yeah, young madam, you're right in everything. She giggled. I like your glib tongue. Layla was satisfied with Hunter's obedience and performance. She dismissed the friendship between Justin and Chloe and maligned Chloe's behavior as cheating spiritually. Okay, it's almost time. Let's watch something more interesting. Hunter watched Layla as she opened an exquisite small box. With a swoosh, something flew out of the box and disappeared. This is... Puzzled, Hunter didn't know what Layla was doing. Just wait and see. That batch will suffer. I'm avenging you, my dear. Layla kissed Jack's lips lightly. Hunter didn't like the strong perfume on her, but he dared not show it. After all, this woman was unpredictable and might get him killed any moment. Although he didn't see the things this woman ate each night, he knew it was a perverse taste from the pungent, bloody smell from her body. Hunter could no longer call Legend and Nalo perverse, because the combined perverse behaviors of the psychos he had seen were not 1/1,000,000th as perverse as Layla's. But Hunter had been wondering why the bloodthirsty Layla has a face resembling Chloe's. Even twins had some small differences between them, but Layla and Chloe looked exactly the same. This was creepy. But Hunter didn't dare to ask her about it. Previously, Elsie got riled up and berated Layla. The latter ordered her men to take off Elsie's clothes and had a dozen black guys ravage her for one whole night. Hunter still felt fearful when he remembered the look in Elsie's eyes before she died. He didn't do it, but Elsie's death showed how sinister Layla was. It was diabolic. Now that she was displeased with Chloe, did it mean that she'd do something vicious to Chloe? After eating the congee and eggs, Chloe and Justin leaned on the wall and chatted, oblivious that a disaster was coming their way. Justin, were you kidnapped by Zoe? No, it was the man who was with her. Mr. Y? Chloe asked. You know him? Justin turned his head and looked at her in surprise. We found some clues. I was careless and didn't expect that she'd appear. I feel as if I stepped on a pile of dog shit. Justin chuckled. It seems Gabriel referred to her before he left, meaning she'd avenge her younger sister. Yeah, but I think she's crazy, said Chloe. Yeah, she's not right in her mind. I only saw her twice. After torturing me for a while, she got tired of it and didn't come again, said Justin. If their real target is me instead of you, you're the innocent party. I dragged you into this mess. Chloe lowered her head. Let's not say that. No matter what the reason is, we can't die here. Yeah, I promised everyone that I'd bring you back safe. I promised my husband. I'd try my best to go back alive. Jack. Justin felt guilty. Because he was kidnapped, Chloe was forced to come out and rescue him, even though she'd be in labor soon. He knew how bad Jack felt. But Jack couldn't stop Chloe because he knew her character well, which brought more pain to him. My husband is a reasonable guy. Don't worry, he doesn't blame you. I know. While they chatted, Justin felt itchy near his collarbone. He reached up and found it was a black bug as big as the nail of the small finger. It was resting on the blood-soaked gauze, sucking blood. Slap. Justin slapped down and killed the small bug, but it left some dark green liquid on the gauze and it mingled with the blood from Justin's wound. Damn, the thing doesn't look right. Chloe sat up immediately and her expression changed drastically. Thanks for tuning in to the Cool Audio Podcast. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with a fellow story lover. Until next time, stay cool and keep listening.